It's first down, Giants, close to the Eagle 48-yard line. McNeil is to the left this time. Tarkenton, great pressure from Rosevich, unloads to Fredrickson. And Tucker fumbles. And it's recovered by Herman inside the 20-yard line.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, now we're at the cornerback position. Pretty much done the whole offense. Pretty much so far the whole defense. I got one more video I'm going to do about the safeties. So now we're at the cornerback position right here. And this is a big one here. Because with our new defense coming in, I mean, with Patrick Graham, I mean, like the way what he did, especially last year, you know, a lot of it was like, you know, maybe kind of back off, you know, other team completes a pass, you come up, make the tackle. We didn't really get scorched too much as far as any long plays downfield. And a lot of times the other teams, you know, had to march. And a lot of times, yeah, they marched down the field and they scored some points, especially in the final 2 minutes. But there wasn't a real lot of, like, you know, 3-play drives, you know what I mean? Where the other team just walked down the field and 3 plays scored. I mean, usually it was 10 plays, 8, 9, 10 plays or whatever, you know. And we gave up a lot of completions. But, you know, it was like, you know, you keep everything in front of you. They make the completion, you come up and make the tackle. That's not so much the way it's going to be in Don Wink Martindale's defense, all right? So now this is, you know, we're getting a little sketchy territory here because we're trying to trade James Bradbury. If we don't trade him, you know, I mean, the other teams out there could be just calling our bluff too because, you know, trying to call around, trying to maybe trade him. I mean, you know, they can read the tea leaves here. If you don't trade him, you're probably just going to let him go. I mean, you know, he's due $21.8 million this year. If we let him go, it's a $9.7 million dead cap hit, which is not very good. You know, $10 million, almost $10 million dead cap hit is not very good at all. But the Giants would be saving $12.1 million cap space, which is huge. I mean, you know, if you figure if Joe Shane's trying to get like $40 million, you know, there's 12 of it right there. So, I mean, if we don't wind up trading them, you know, I mean, it would be nice to trade them, you know, maybe get a third or possibly a fourth rounder for him in return. I mean, it wouldn't be super nothing spectacular, but, you know, which would leave us with Adoree Jackson as, you know, I guess would be cornerback number 1 now. Now, Adoree Jackson is a good chance he'll be gone after this next season, after, you know, the 2022 season, because in 2023 he's due to make $16.5 million, baby. Yeah, but only $4.5 million dead cap hit. So if we would get rid of him, we'd save $12 million. So I mean, if we get rid of Bradbury, we'd be saving $12 million this year. If we get rid of Adoree Jackson, we'd be saving $12 million next year. So there's a chance, all right, that after the 2022 season, we don't have Adoree Jackson or Bradbury anymore. So, all right, which winds up leaving us with possibly Aaron Robinson, right, Darnay Holmes, Rodarius Williams, and even Julian Love. You know, I mean, because Julian Love's Mr. Duct Tape, as Joe Judge was calling him, because he can kind of put him pretty much anywhere. I mean, he's not going to be a super spectacular cornerback. He's not a lockdown corner at all. But you can put him anywhere, and he'll do a reasonable job for you. All right, but it's nice having some depth in there. Okay, but now talking about Julian Love. he could possibly be a cap casualty this year, right? Because apparently he's $2.7 million is what he's owed this year, but his dead cap is only $200,000. So if we will let go of him, that would be another $2.5 million we would save. Now, I mean, there's all ways to get. I mean, there's going to be tons of college free agents out there, and I don't know if any of them are going to be as good as Julian Love, but I mean, there's the draft. We got 9 picks. There's the free agents, college free agents. There's a free agency as well too. But I mean, if you were to get rid of Bradbury and Julian Love, you would save $14.5 million. That's almost that's a little more than a third of what Joe Schoen wants to save as far as the $40 million. So you're losing a couple good quality players. You're losing some experience and all that, but $14.5 million is quite a bit. So it'd be interesting to see once again what Joe Schoen does. Because free agency is only what today is. Free agency is 8 days away. So it's next Wednesday. So it's coming up. So we got a lot of moves we still got to make coming up. So I mean, as I said, at least Aaron Robinson, Darnay Holmes, and Rodarius Williams. I mean, obviously we got Adoree Jackson this year still. But I'm saying, if we would somehow get rid of Julian Love, Adoree Jackson, and James Bradbury, next year, our cornerbacks would be Aaron Robinson, Rodarius Williams, and Darnay Holmes. I mean, I like those guys, but I mean, that's not somebody you want to be putting in the defensive secondary for Don Wink Martindale's defense. Now, there's guys on the 2022 active roster, okay, that Don Wink Martindale has based on his defense from last year. He sent a lot of pressure last year when he was with the Ravens. Now, the defense got scorched quite often. Long plays, touchdowns. But a lot of it was due to injuries. Okay, but he was sending pressure with the Ravens, and because he didn't have exact. I got a cat here. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a couple cats walking around my feet. But some of his best players weren't there last year because they were injured, and his secondary really let the defensive down. So it's huge, that we have some decent guys in the secondary. Now, I mean, we'll have Xavier McKinney, Logan Ryan, so we'll have some safeties, but going to start getting a little thin at the cornerback position. So you need some good men in the secondary. So this might be possibly a first-round cornerback pick maybe for the Giants, because there's a couple of them there who could possibly go. I wouldn't say number 5, number 7, possibly number 7. Because it's top heavy as far as with defensive players. Top heavy. You have a couple of linebackers, cornerbacks, edge rushers. Yes, it's some good defensive players up front. So it might be a first-round cornerback pick maybe for the Giants. We'll have to want to wait and see. So, and if you consider we might be losing Bradbury and Adoree Jackson the next year, we might definitely want to start thinking about possibly maybe getting a cornerback this year or in a first or second round, and then maybe also getting another one in next year's draft as well too. So we can help out the secondary. We can do it either in free agency or in the draft. Now with free agency, we can't really make any big time splashes because we're not going to have a boatload of money. And if we do make any type of a big time, semi-big time splash, I think it might be more of an offensive lineman, quite possibly. But we'll just have to wait and see. Now there's a bunch of guys, I saw on PFF, they had a bunch of guys ranked, cornerbacks. Right, some of them are a couple a little old, some are a little expensive. There's a couple of guys that work pretty well for us, but what you're looking for is somebody who can play man to man. Right, that would be huge. Okay, now the first couple of guys were like Patriots. I get J.C. Jackson, who was from the Patriots. Right, he was the 7th-ranked cornerback according to Pro Football Focus last year. He graded out an 82.7. Did very, very well. But, I mean, sometimes it's like, like with Nate Solder, they seem to do good with the Patriots, and they kind of go to some other teams, and they don't seem to quite do as well. It's kind of like Bill Belichick's coaching tree. They seem to do pretty well when they're with Bill Belichick, and then they go other places, and they just don't seem to coach as well. But last year he was very good in the run game, and he had 8 interceptions last year. And he's only 26 years old. The problem is that he's PFF has him maybe making around $18 million a year, and that's not something that the Giants are going to want to make that big of a splash on. So unfortunately, he'll be going someplace else. Then you get the next expatriate was Stephon Gilmore, who was with the Panthers, though. All right. But he'll be turning 32. Pro Football Focus has him making around like maybe $14 million. I mean, wow. He's good at press man, okay, but not so much in zone. So he would be somebody more or less along what the Giants are looking for, right? Now, but unfortunately, due to his age, his better years were behind. From 2017 to 2019, he had some very good grades. He graded out really well. He did a phenomenal job. But the past couple of years, he's been kind of coming more back down to earth, and that's not somebody I could see the Giants. I mean, 32. He's somebody like I mean, if you're gonna bring him in for a year, I mean, it's because you're trying to make the playoffs or you're trying to make the Super Bowl or something like that. If you're somebody like the Giants, you're not bringing him in, especially for $14 million a year. Not somebody 32 years old. I can't see that happening. The next guy is Carlton Davis, who was with the Bucks. He's only 25. All right. Pro Football Focus has him maybe making around $17 million a year once again, which would be a bit rich for the Giants. He's very good man coverage though, which is huge. But I think 17 million just seems like a bit much for him, and obviously for the Giants to try to sign him. But I mean, I'll tell you what, the Bucks are gonna, I'd be surprised if they make the playoffs this year coming up. I don't care how good Arians is as a coach. I mean, Gronk is a free agent. I don't think he's going back there. Brady's gone. Fournette's a free agent. Godwin's a free agent. One of their offensive linemen retired. 2 other offensive linemen are free agent. I mean, Carlton Davis is a free agent. I don't know if the Bucs will be able to sign him or not. JPP, what they do? He's a free agent. I mean, so they kept the same team, the Bucs, from 2020 when they won the Super Bowl, as they did in 2021. They made another good run. If it wasn't for the Rams, they might have won back-to-back Super Bowls. But I mean, now that Brady's retired and a bunch of other guys are leaving, they're gonna be lucky to make the playoffs this following season. But Carlton Davis, the Giants had some money. He may not be a bad guy to pick up, but I said right now, $17 million is just a bit rich for the Giants. You got Casey Hayward Jr., who was with the Raiders, right? He's going to turn 33 years old. Right? Pro Football Focus has him maybe on a 1-year deal for about $6.5 million. Right? Now, basically, it's the same thing. He's kind of good for he's cheap. He's got experience, right? But he's good for a team once again, trying to on the cusp. Just trying to have a shot at maybe making the Super Bowl. Somebody like that. I mean, that's not somebody the Giants, they're not signing a 33-year-old to a 1-year deal, even 2 years. That's not happening. Then you got Darius Williams, who was with the Rams. All right, he's 29 years old. All right, Pro Football Focus has him at around maybe $11 million a season. They were saying maybe a 3-year deal for maybe around $33 million. All right, he graded out really well. All right, in 2020, he graded out an 81. He took a little step back this past season. He graded out at a 61.8. But obviously, he's on the opposite side of Jalen Ramsey, so he seems to get picked on maybe a little bit more. Although Jalen Ramsey gave up some catches this past season as well too. But Darius Williams, I can't see the Giants. $11 million. It's just, unfortunately, a little bit rich for the Giants as well too. We're looking for probably somebody, if they're going after a cornerback, it would be I could say $10 million and below. right? I mean, because the Giants definitely want to bring in a couple free agents, and I can't see him trying to spend it all on one guy. All right. Next guy, you got Steve Nelson, who was with the Eagles, right? And he's 29 years old. Pro Football Focus has him only about $7 million, right? Unfortunately, he's better in zone, all right? And Martindale's defense is not going to be pretty much zone based. I mean, we're going to be a lot of man. He was very good in 2019. He graded out at 80.5, but the last couple of years he wasn't so much. All right, and that's he's kind of taking a step backwards and all, but once again, he's out there. He's only $7 million. I mean, according to Pro Football Focus. So I mean, that's somebody the Giants could go after quite possibly. Right? Then you got Charvarius Ward, who was with the Chiefs. All right, he'll be 26 years old. Pro Football Focus has him around $10.5 million per season. All right, they got him 3 years, $31.5 million. All right, he unfortunately with him, I mean, he would be a good number 2 cornerback. All right, in a man heavy scheme. So, but I mean, you can pay like $10-11 million to a number 2 cornerback. I mean, the Giants did it, I guess, with Adoree Jackson. So. I guess so. But he's also very good in the run defense too. So I mean, if the Giants had possibly maybe a little bit more salary cap, space, that might be somebody they can look at. I mean, he's young, 26, and he's around $10 million a year. That wouldn't be bad. The next one is and there's a whole boatload of them. There's DJ Reed, who was with the Seahawks. He's only 25. PFF has him around $8 million a year. All right, but he's best in his zone scheme. So, all right, that's not what the Giants are looking for. Then, of course, you have the ageless one, Patrick Peterson, who was with the Vikings last year. He's 32 years old. All right. I mean, he had some phenomenal seasons when he was with the Cardinals, but he's getting up there. He's a little past his prime. So, I mean, I can't. There's no way the Giants are going after a 32-year-old when they're trying to kind of rebuild, in rebuild mode. So I can't see the Giants going after him. There's Levi Wallace, who this here, all right, was with Buffalo. He's only played 4 seasons. All 4 seasons were with Buffalo. Shane was on the Buffalo Bills coaching staff. Right? He was the assistant GM when they drafted him in 2018. Okay, so there's a familiarity there. He's only 27 years old. All right, so he's still young. PFF has him maybe around $6 million a year. Unfortunately, he's better in zone than he is in man-to-man. All right, but he did spend his whole career with Buffalo, and his familiarity, Dable's got some familiarity. I mean, Dable's an offensive coordinator, but he was on the same team, and Shane helped draft him. So there is that familiarity there. So Levi Wallace might be a possibility. He's young and he's cheap, so maybe. All right. There's Bryce Callahan, who's with Denver. I've seen him. He's kind of like they had there. He's more like a slot cornerback. So that's not helping when you lose Bradbury. There's Adoree Jackson, who is with Carolina. We would be a good number 2 cornerback in a zone scheme. So that's not helping the Giants that much either. There's Robert Alford, who was with Arizona. He would be a number 2 or number 3 cornerback, and once again in the zone scheme. So there's a lot of guys out there. All right, some guys are expensive, some guys are old, some guys are good man-to-man, some guys are good in the zone. It's like pick your flavor, what works best for you. As I said, Levi Wallace might make some sense. If he wants to follow Shane to the Giants, because he could be affordable. He's not going to be a shutdown corner or anything like that, but, Shane's got familiarity with him. So, possibly. And there's also, there's also in the draft as well, too. There's going to be some good cornerbacks. Even in the second round, there's going to be some very good cornerbacks. I don't know if you're going to get a number 1 cornerback in the second round or so, but, in the first round, picks number, I don't know if you have to do with pick number 5, but pick number 7 maybe is Sauce Gardner, who hasn't given up a touchdown at all in his college career. Very impressive. Derek Stingley. who in 2019, where he played, all right, looked like he might be the #1 pick this year. The past 2 seasons, when LSU hasn't been very good, can't say he hasn't been very good, but he has taken definitely a step backwards. 2019, all right, when they had all those good players there, all right, he was really good. He was unbelievable. All right, so and his expectations coming out in the draft this year, he could have been the #1 overall pick. The past couple of years, yeah, I mean, he's still very good. Don't get me wrong. All right, but I mean, there's Trent McDuffie, there's Derek Stingley, and Sauce Gardner. All right, so you got a few options there. Maybe pick #7. I said I don't know if you need to pick him at #5. There's also Kyle Hamilton, who I'm going to wind up going over tomorrow in the safeties, or next time I want to go over the safeties video. But I mean, so there's some options there. And I said, and there's also the college free agents after the draft's all over with. But I mean, when you pick somebody there, that's you pretty much you're going to find quality depth. If you're lucky. Okay, you're not finding a shutdown corner in the college free agency. After the draft is over, that's not happening. You're just trying to get some quality depth. So, what the Giants are going to do, very interesting to see. They will have their pick, pretty much. They will have their pick. They should, at any cornerback that they want. If they fall in love with any of them, all right, pick #5 or pick #7, the Giants just might take a cornerback. Because I can't see any way they could possibly hold on to Bradbury. I mean, they're trying to save some money. They let him go. There's $12 million to save. All right, that's going to hurt their defense. Yeah, but they need money. So, unfortunately, Bradbury's going to go. And, I can't see them. They're going to, let Bradbury go so they can save $12 million so they can pick up a free agent, spend $12 million to pick up a free agent. I can't see that happen. So, what I could see happening would be, like I said, maybe not pick #5 because that might be a bit early, but quite possibly pick #7. The New York Giants just might take a cornerback. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!